I used to drink too much. Us Brits have an alcohol problem. I once drank 220 units in a very long weekend. That's around 22 bottles of wine, or 15 times the recommended weekly allowance for women. I'd been celebrating my 25th birthday. It ended up with me sitting opposite an alcohol counsellor, having been sent there by my doctor. The counsellor gave me a see-through piggy bank and told me to put all the money I would spend on booze in it. I ignored him, carried on drinking, and never put a penny in. See, fact is, at the time, at the age, and with the people I hung around with, this level of drinking didn't seem all that unusual. But here I am, 10 years later, not sober, but barely hitting that recommended 14 units weekly. This is partly thanks to maturity and partly therapy, but my experience of trying to be sober in the UK has led me to believe we've got a massive drink problem. We're a nation of, go on, don't be boring, it's just one more beer. Alistair Campbell agrees with me. While discussing his friend Charles Kennedy's untimely death, he said,
"We have got a cultural problem."
And like Alistair, Russell Brand knows from experience.
I think it's something that you're expected to do. If you don't drink, you're outside of the norm.
Only 38.8% of the world's population drinks alcohol. Within that minority, we excel. 9 million of us drink more than the recommended daily amount, making Britain the binge drinking capital of Europe. Us Brits can find an excuse for a drink in just about any situation. Breakfast, Bloody Mary, or my old fave, the breakfast beer. Getting a train, M&S cocktail tinnies. Festival, personal Cassavel, or a box of wine each. Bad news, brandy. Good news, Prosecco. Wedding or funeral, let's start a tab. Why do we need to hit the bottle when we're celebrating, commiserating, or even just bored? Are we a nation of self-medicators, or was I simply lucky enough to be born in the most awesome party nation on the planet? According to Dr. Jonathan Rosen, director of the Social Brain Centre, there are 4 reasons why we drink. 1. To escape the stress of making sense of the world. 2. To escape ourselves. 3. An excuse to behave badly. And 4, apparently we drink to glimpse unity and transcendence. Rosen says we're looking to fulfil a kind of secular spiritual experience. Judging by the number of folks speaking in tongues outside my favourite Wetherspoons, it clearly works. In short, we aren't coping with the stress of modern Britain. It's no surprise we regularly top working hours polls as well as drinking ones. We're out of balance, and I think we know it, which could be why there's been an explosion in sobriety movements. From Hello Sunday Morning to Sober is Sexy, Soberistas and Dry Januaries, we're coming up with all kinds of excuses to go sober, and it's not some fuddy-duddy temperance movement. Britain's piss-up tradition is going out of fashion. The number of young teetotalers has risen by 40% since 2005. 1 in 3 adults in London says they don't drink at all. Maybe we're on the cusp of calling time on our boozing for good.
Why I left my job in the city to fight ISIS. Can you remember the first time you heard about the Islamic State? For me, it was when Mosul fell in June 2014.
Tonight, Islamist rebels captured the major city of Mosul.